started
Sweet.
recording at some point.
Yes, we
There it
are.
is.
Oh, hey.
Yeah. So this is how it goes. So we're pretty much obviously recording our own audio.
Yes, we are.
Um, what do you use? Audacity?
Yeah, so I use Audacity and I use GarageBand too sometimes. So it just depends on how I'm creating the file. But
Yeah, I want you to create an MP3, so probably Audacity.
yeah. All right, so hold on 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now I'm recording my audio. We're good to go.
Oh, you don't have to record it now.
All right, cool. Either way.
Yeah. So what's gonna happen is, I mean, once we both start recording our audio,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do a countdown of three, two, one, and then we're gonna clap like that
Okay,
because that makes it easier in post when I edit it,
cool.
so that I know that it'll sync up and it'll trust me. It makes editing so much easier
Yeah, sounds good for
if
me.
everybody claps and stuff. So what's gonna happen on the show is we're gonna talk. I'm gonna obviously do an eccentric introduction
Mm-hmm.
of
Do it.
sorts. I'm going to introduce you. You're going to obviously do a quick plug. I'm gonna try to make it
Yeah.
sound like $1,000,000 as much as
Yeah.
possible. And then we're just going to get into the week of wrestling. We're going to talk about Raw, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to take like two commercials. So we're going to do a big introduction.
Right.
We're going to take a commercial break. Going to get into Raw. Going to take a commercial. Going to probably get into SmackDown maybe as well. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet. We'll take like another commercial break and then we'll get into any other news and notes, which will pretty much be mm, talking about NXT because I just watched it and I'm
Sounds
fully
good.
caught up. Um, and talking about the gala and the tailgate and all that fun stuff. Anything that you want to talk about too, and I'll give you a chance to plug your show and everything as well.
Yeah, man. Do I want or do you want to give me like a in gimmick name, like a
Oh no,
royalty
you're.
name?
I don't know. You can create your own royalty name. I mean, I figured I'd just call you Jeff from Not Your Mama's Soap Opera.
Works for me. I'm down
Yeah,
for that.
because it's good because now this is going to be like real legit cross promotion for you.
Oh yeah, it absolutely will be. So it'll be cool.
So
It'll be fun.
it's going to be a fun time. And no one knows you're doing this yet, so it's going to be even awesome.
You know it. Hey, it's us Long Islanders keeping it,
Yeah, right. This is
at
this is a
100.
it's a true Long Island connection right now.
Oh yeah, you know it. Where everything's just 15 to 20 minutes away. It's just a matter of where you're going.
Exactly, exactly. Unless you're me and I had to drive out the Holtzville this morning.
Oh, that's no, no, no. Mm-mm.
Yeah, 2 hour meeting. So it's
Oh,
fine.
fun.
It's fine to make the workday go so much quicker because like it's a 2 hour meeting event. That's an extra hour traveling to and from the place.
Oh yeah, no. Back down in Georgia when I was the field rep, they would have me go random places all over the state, but we included our travel time in our workday. So if I had to
Nice.
leave at 5 a.m. to get to an event at 8, it's not as though I started at 9 like everyone else did. I started at 5 when
Yeah,
I left my house. So, you know,
yeah. You get to leave
look.
at 2.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. So then we were done. So there's
That
definitely our
works.
benefits.
That works perfectly. All right. So you ready?
Oh yeah, it's rock
All
and
right.
roll.
So you recording?
Hold on one.
It's on.
Yes, I
All
am
right.
recording.
All right. On my count. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. All right. Let's get into it.
Sweet. Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome for the 140th time to the now brand new Kings of the Rings podcast. I am your host, your foundation, your king, Rickie Rose, at Ambassador Biggs on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, some people's DMs, less people's text messages of the Kings of the Rings podcast. I am also, just dramatic effect with the pause, I am also the general manager of Wrestle Addict Radio at Addict Wrestle on Twitter. And I'm the man that pretty much does it all here on the podcast, KOTR underscore podcast on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. It's me. It's all of me. And so I do have a little bit of an announcement today. Unfortunately, Dusty Dave is under the weather. He got a little
Mm.
bit of a flu bug, I believe, and so Dave will not be with us tonight.
Aw,
Yeah, I know it's upsetting.
it is.
However, when that happens, and this happened very abruptly on the time that we're recording. I had to, dig deep and look far and wide. Well, not too far and not too wide, actually, to find somebody who I felt would be a suitable replacement for Dave. Oh, well, you can never replace Dave. I can find someone who's suitable enough, someone who I know really well, somebody who I guess what you would call a Long Island connection. Yes,
Oh,
folks. Yes,
absolutely. That
yes.
15-20 minute connection.
About a 15 to 20 minute connection. That's how long it takes to get anywhere on Long Island. But ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you our special co-host this evening, another member of Wrestle Addict Radio, one of our one-man shows. It's called Not Your Mama's Soap Opera, which debuts every Wednesday of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, double F, double C, Jeff Palmaccio. Jeff, how are you?
Good. I'm doing well. How are you, King? How are you? How are we
I
doing, Your Highness? You
I'm
good?
doing well. I was prepared to do a one man show, and I was really going to try to do it. But then you hopped in rather quickly to say, "Hey, I can help out." So I figured, if I mean,
Absolutely.
why
I
not do
mean,
it?
absolutely. I mean, as those ooses over on Not Your Mama's Soap Opera know, we moved back up from Georgia to New York, and we are looking
Yes,
for work. So, we are always have time available to put into, our passion, which is professional wrestling. I think we all share that
yes, we do.
kinship, and, it brought us together. And so I think it's really cool that we have this opportunity to collaborate before the Showcase of the Immortals coming up in New York.
Yes, we do. I mean, that's where we're all going to meet up again. We haven't all come together since SummerSlam, which was in August, which was it seems like it was yesterday, but it hasn't been yesterday. It's actually been a pretty long while since we've all met up. So I'm looking very, very forward to that. So before we get into that and talking about what we're doing with WrestleMania and everything, we have to get into the week. But first, we got to let the listeners know a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. What do we
Okay,
want to know?
what do we want to know about you, Joe? I didn't even put any thought into
Hmm.
this, but we do want to know a little bit about you. All right, so let's start off easily. How did you get into wrestling?
So I got into wrestling actually because I was collecting action figures when I was 4. I was down the toy aisle and I saw a Goldust action figure. I wanted a cane, but there wasn't a cane. So I got
Hmm.
Goldust because he was the yellow alternative and it seemed to work. That being said, I had an older cousin who's 9 years older than me, and he kind of ushered in everything for me in that regards. I took a break during the ruthless aggression era, and
Who
when
did
I
it?
absolutely. I just, for I don't know why, but it just kind of happens. I think hopefully we don't see those ghosts affecting the current card, but and then I found myself getting back into wrestling as a University of Maryland student with my suite mates who we used to pirate uh, pay-per-views back before the network. This was 2011, right? Summer of Punk was hot. It was a
Yeah.
good time to come back into wrestling, as so many of us did. That's when Ant also came back into wrestling too. But because my roommate at the time sexiled me to my suite mates part of the room all the time, we watched a lot of wrestling, a lot of obscure wrestling, because I was there all the time. And I
Yeah.
just soon to fall back in love with the storytelling and those characters that I had on a folder in first grade of Kane, Stone Cold, Undertaker, and The Rock. And I went back and said, wait a minute, we were in Florida all the time. And I just remember having memories of watching DDP on WCW and just realizing that professional wrestling has been a big part of my life always, even going back to that toy aisle when I was 4. So that's kind of where we are today. And I found myself, I've always found myself living in different places. I used to live in London. I went to school in DC, recently lived in Georgia, and I've always had wrestling. Always had
Yeah.
wrestling friends in a community because that's what wrestling breeds. It lets you communicate with everybody and it's a commonality. It doesn't matter if LeBron had a horrible game because there's no actual competition. It doesn't matter
Hmm.
if the Lakers win. It doesn't matter if Dwayne Wade had a good night for me because whatever the storytelling is the storytelling. That's why I have no problem absolutely booing WWE with Kurt Angle's announcement of Baron Corbin, but I'm sure
Oh
we'll
yeah.
get to that later.
Yeah,
Uh,
yes, we will. I find it really interesting that at the same time, how long were you at the University of Maryland for?
I was at the University of Maryland from 2010 until 2015. I went to Hofstra for a year in between.
I'm glad you stopped making that mistake and went down south for a little bit. Eventually, I didn't learn because I went to Hofstra University for grad school. That's also because I was desperate. Anywho, but I find it very interesting that at the time you're getting into wrestling, you're at the University of Maryland, 2010, 2011 ish.
Hmm.
Um, I'm at Towson University.
Yes, you are.
I'm at Towson University at the latter half of my career there, which is oh my god, tear to my eye. It's
Oh
coming.
yeah.
It's coming on 8 years, which fucking sucks.
I don't
Um,
want to think about when I was in college. I just try to, it's a few years ago.
yeah.
Just
Just keep telling yourself that for as long as you
exactly.
can. I'm at that point. I'm not even into wrestling at that point. I'm into helping to build a brand new empire that I've mentioned before called a fraternity that I became the
Absolutely.
first president of. And it wasn't until after that, years later, when I got back home to New York and to Long Island, actually not New York, Long Island. There's a difference.
Big difference,
And when I
folks.
started getting back into wrestling, but it's really interesting that it's kind of just these worlds colliding. It's a very small world and it's a very small